Thank you.
Is it new? Ish.
Not yet.
Okay.
New-ish.
I was talking to Bissett, you, me, and Bissett, and Brad should go on a trip.
Oh, we'll coordinate it.
Yes, sir.
I need to get my hands on
Okay, you're all set.
some materials.
Yes. At this time, I'd like to call the April 18, 2022 Public Safety Committee to order at 5 p.m. Roll call. Councilor Kelly is absent. Councilor Bob.
Present.
Mayor Rosenquist.
Here.
And Chair Canales is here. All committee members have received a copy of the minutes of the March 21st, 2022 Public Safety Committee. I will now entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Councilor Bob, seconded by. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. At this time, we have two draft resolutions to go forth with from community development. So I'll take a motion to bring this resolution. Motion by Councilor Bob, seconded by Chair Canales. Discussion.
Yeah, sure.
Go
Before Matt starts this, and Matt will fill in some gaps specific to this item. But this item is in conjunction with the very comprehensive memo that Matt sent out regarding parking. There is going to need to be additional conversations regarding the pay structure for parking and how that gets set, not only in the short term, but the long term. But Matt can fill in the gap on this particular item, but these two items were also outlined in that memo, per my request that Matt provide. Per my request that Matt does provide that information to council. So when these items do come forth, we understand the entire scope and the entire context for why these items are coming through, because they do have a timeline for when they come through. They can't just all come through together. So thank you, Matt.
Sure. And the draft resolution for a second amendment to the city's agreement with IPS Group. This is to purchase 4 additional kiosks to be installed in the southern half of the Durkee Street parking lot, as was discussed last week. This is a recommended addition by the Community Development Office to the downtown parking plan because of
Give me
the.
1 second. I'm gonna ask that you all please be quiet so that we can hear what's going on. We have viewers as well, live stream, so we need to make sure we're understanding. Thank you. No, it's good. Thank you. Continue.
Because of the ongoing litigation involving the Prime Development Project, we do need to include the Durkee Street parking lot in the city's paid parking system. So this will place kiosks. It also includes the civil work necessary to install them, the pouring of the concrete pads, the installation of bollards, the installation of signage throughout the lot. This covers all of those costs. And this would put the fabrication of those kiosks in the pipeline for delivery sometime between early and late June. And the capital project resolution that is included along with it, that updates the previous capital project resolution from last October that the council approved to include the $9,000 in software costs that the council approved 2 or 3 meetings ago for the parking kiosk system, plus all of the additional costs in this second amendment, which adds up to, I think, $51,000 and change. So in total, the kiosk system's upfront costs would come to $210,162.
That's everything.
That is everything. And there are ongoing costs and maintenance costs, but that will be factored as an operational cost into the system as we go on.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't that this was an oversight or anything. It's just something that preliminarily, that is something that your office wanted to do up front, but as the council, we were not sure what we wanted to do. Is that correct?
There was uncertainty as to the future of the Durkee Street lot because of the litigation. Now that we have a decision, it's an unfortunate one, but we do have to plan based on the results of that court case. The lot is looking like it will be tied up in litigation for the foreseeable future, so it needs to be added to the lot. So this is simply
Amending that.
addressing that uncertainty now that we know what's happening.
I just wanted it to be on public record that this wasn't a shortfall of anyone in this city.
No,
That
no,
this is as response to litigation, ongoing litigation. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows.
Yep.
you're doing your job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All in favor of moving this to the regular meeting for vote, say aye. All opposed? Carried. Draft resolution 2.2, I'll take a motion for that. Motion by Kate, second by Mayor. Since we've already had that discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Building inspector. Director, feel free to discuss everything from 1 to 4. Just you can go straight through.
Okay, let's start with our proactive complaint report. Year to date, we've got 88 violations that we've cited. 81 have been resolved. 7 are still in progress. Of our complaints, call-ins typically by the citizens. We've got 45 year to date. 35 been resolved and 10 are in progress. If you have any specific questions about any of those. Okay. Our permits year to date, we've got 72 that we've approved. And again, these are just the ones that are approved. We've got 30 or 40 that are still in the queue that we're reviewing. As compared to 52 this time last year. So 20 more permits and about 3 times the fee.
Say that again.
These include the ones that have been approved.
Correct, not the ones that are in the queue.
The ones that are in the queue are not on here.
Compared, you said compared to last year?
Compared to last year, we've got 72 issued this year to date, as compared to 52 last year.
Yeah, it's
Great,
awesome.
fantastic.
Great revenue.
And I'm sorry, what was number 4?
Number 4 was year-to-date permit application revenues, and that's what we just.
Okay,
Did we hit the proactive patrol report?
proactive was the first one. I
Okay,
liked.
and then, and you hit the violations, and I think you got the complaints, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, I spoke with CP Rail today. They do not do any sort of proactive cleanup. They've said that they have offered a lookout in the past when the city has organized a volunteer group.
Yep.
And they'd be likely to do that again.
This is just for the whole entire rail portions that are
Yep,
in the city.
that's right.
Yeah, they have done a rail watch
Yeah.
for the city when we get volunteers out there. And I think I had another conversation with Mike.
Is that mostly on the south side?
No, I mean, like, it's just
Just the whole-
wherever on the tracks.
We actually got a complaint from a citizen in regards to a certain portion of the tracks. That's what led to this discussion. But, in talking to them, yeah, they said they don't do any proactive cleanup anyway.
Yeah, they're pretty bad in my ward where the complaint had come from over by Miller
Yeah, it's the
Street.
same.
It's
same
horrible
with us.
too. It's just,
Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
much bad
it's
the
really
whole
bad.
way.
Yeah, it's really bad. The whole
Maybe we
entire-
should look at trying to organize like a whole, not just the Ward 5, but a whole
No, whole
railway,
community
Yeah.
thing.
a
Let's
whole
do it.
railway cleanup. I know we've got the Earth Day, but cleanup, but we could. do
it's
something
gonna be a
specific.
much bigger job than just that Saturday.
No, I
to
think
be
we
honest,
can do a collaboration between,
Yeah,
city ops and
Okay.
public safety.
While Joe's up here, and so we'll work on that. Joe, me and Mike will
Thank you
work
for that.
on sorting that out, and we'll work with the counselors to get some volunteers out there on a particular day or a couple days outside of just that Earth Day opportunity. A couple of things while Joe's up here. We had a question about energy code enforcement. Part of the clean energy community and climate smart community. We're going to have that conversation tomorrow. There's also a question about the raise the blade and the no mow May.
Right. For bees.
Correct. And so the city does have a code that we follow under the New York State
Property maintenance code.
property maintenance code, and that limits the amount of grass height to 10 inches. And that is enforced. And Joe sent me a report earlier today regarding how many times those complaints went out last year and how many times we went out to enforce that. So with that being said, we still do raise the blade, and that's a Lake Champlain Basin partnership that we do. I'll send out the information that Joe provided in my office regarding that conversation we've had over email regarding the May No Mow event initiative. But certainly I don't foresee any issue with us as a community advocating and promoting and saying, hey, let's get, let's allow people to do this rather than doing something that's more code related and requiring people to do it, I guess. But I think it's a great initiative and something kind of we do with the no raise the blade program through the summer. But it'll be good to get that information out back out to council. I just wanted to let people know that we were having
Thank you,
that
no, I
conversation.
appreciate
while he
it.
was standing there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm good.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Police Department, Lieutenant Mitchell. Come on through. You can give us the discussion points from 4.1 all the way to 4.6, and I'll take it from there.
I owe you. It's not my fault. This is not my fault. This is not my fault, man.
So here I am for my first one. Discussion points. Get the reports that, I don't know if they were all sent out. Any questions on any of them, or to start with the parking violations report?
Do you have a sense? Do you have a sense of why they're, compared to last year? Or any understanding from Tori on why we're lower than last year in terms of parking enforcement?
I think she had some time out, some family. I believe that may have dropped some of that. So and some sick leave issues.
Yep. Okay.
It might be.
And as the council is aware, we are looking at hiring another parking enforcement attendant. Because we are, as we know, we're expanding that footprint for parking enforcement. That is a PD function. As we move that function from upstairs to over to PD. So we are looking at adding another parking enforcement attendant to cover a broader, bigger footprint for enforcement.
We've been working our way through the list on that.
Yeah.
On our second rotation. No questions on the parking. The monthly call and arrest report. So for the month of March, looks like 11 felonies arrests that we had, 23 misdemeanors. Year to date would be 109 total. For the month of March, cases 567. Year to date, just over 1,500 with 1,527 cases. Blotters, which is a little bit more than that. Almost 2,000, 1,192. Correction, almost 1,200. Year to date, 3,000, 116. And then the animals, I believe that was is that the next.
Yeah, if you
Animal complaints that we've had, domestic animals, 45 in the family, which is like animals being lost, running at large, stuff like that. And that's year to date, excuse me. Wild animals that we've dealt with, starting to come out a little bit more this time of year. We're starting to see more skunks starting to come out, dealing with those being troublemakers that they can be. 6 of those so far. I think in the last couple of weeks, I think we've had at least 3.
Sure, that'll go up.
Yeah, and are we,
We'd
do
love
we
to
have,
skunks.
do we have a mechanism for calling an outside agency for that? Because I know we talked about hiring or contracting for animal and dog control officer, but I don't know. We never really made headway on that.
I don't think so. I did hear that we were trying to combine maybe with some of the town.
Yep.
I haven't heard anything more on that. Payroll and overtime. Does anybody have any questions on that? Or-
My only question, and Mary, you're gonna have to be the one to answer this one.
Yes.
Is this nearing 40% of the total budget of overtime? Is that something year to date that is common?
For PD, what do we have? 40% used, but then 59% remaining.
Yeah.
Some of the overtime is attributed to training, because we do have officers that are in that train at academy, and
Yeah.
that's overtime accrued. Or it's either overtime accrued or what the PD calls AT or accumulated time, which is comp time.
Yeah.
But also field training. Does field training accrue overtime?
Not normally, no.
Okay. So that's a lot of where our overtime has landed for PD specifically, at 40%, at 40%. No, I don't know. I'd have to go back to look at last year, to be honest, to see if what's normal, normal year to date. But also just the understanding that we have is, we've got 60% of that amount remaining and 70% of the year remaining. So we're running a little bit behind on overtime. I got to look at the numbers from last year. I think, I don't know what the overtime budget was for 2021, but I think it was at 150 as well. So really that we run our academy is really the function for increased overtime for the most part.
And that's gonna stop.
That ends. That ends now because the academy is over as of April. Congratulations to the 10 cadets that graduated.
Yes.
Too, by the way. It was a great ceremony. It's very moving.
Hoping with them being done their training in the next few months that they'll get on and curb some of the overtime.
Yeah, right. That's the other piece to this as well, is that when we have call-ins and force-ins, then that does create additional overtime with the lack of staffing or with less staffing.
But so the academy having contributed to a bunch of this and coming to an end, there should be a little less.
That's our focus right now.
It'll
Yes.
balance out.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did have a copy of the new organizational chart.
And I believe I also provided that to
Yes.
council as well. Some of these red blocks, backfills will likely not be backfilled. Chief and I are having additional conversations regarding some of the interagency positions and whether that actually needs a full-time position versus can it be a partnership based on not only the PD's capacity, but the book of business that partnership creates. Do we need a third party for that? Or sorry, do we need a full-time officer for that? Maybe, maybe not. We got to work through those details. But the other piece to this is we have had some not only promotions out of patrol division, but also retirements out of patrol division that need to be backfilled and filled. Some are promotional. So we've had 3 promotions this year, I believe. 3 or 4 promotions this year from patrol into
Yes.
upper level mid management, I should say, sergeants, corporal, detective as well. So
And as I see it here, some of the like blue boxes being on the shifts, those are the new recruits just getting out of the academy. So some of those are going to switch as the month changes. They'll rotate to other shifts to get more experience at nights or days. So those will change a little bit.
it should also be noted that those folks right now are in field training. So you'll see 2 officers in a car rather than 1, which you would normally see. But we kind of have to double up on those folks for now. And then once they're done, then they, we have a little bit more capacity in that department. I will also note that Counselor Gibbs requested this, and I'll send this out to Counselor Gibbs as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Tnr program, I don't have anything on that.
So I added that. I had a good conversation with Denise Nephews regarding TNR. We have money in our contract services for animal control, which we haven't spent on, considering we don't have an animal control officer. It would be my request of the council to allow for expending some of those funds for neutering from a local veterinarian. We will not trap, the city of Plattsburgh won't trap the animal, but folks from the TNR program would. Once they trap the animal, they could take it to the vet for neutering. We would pay that bill, essentially. We all know that feral cats are a problem in the city, and this is one mechanism to reduce that problem. Right. So, and it's a partnership. It's a good partnership with community members and community advocates who want to do the work and are available to do the work to capture these animals. So that was my initial conversation with Denise. We're going to probably have another meeting here in the next few weeks to touch on that a little bit more and touch on the plan for that. But that would be my request to council, is to allow for that monies to go toward that. It's not a lot. I think that she said last time it was about $2,000 or so that they spend, or that they get charged for that work. So it's not that much money for the city, and it's budgeted too.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that this is something that we all get a lot of comments and complaints about too. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I mean, at least this is an action we can take. Because it's
Yes.
one of those things chasing our tail. It's like, what do you do about it? But this is something we can do.
Absolutely.
It's a step.
They say it's like herding cats.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if you wanted me to go into the next draft resolution. or-
No, we're good now, Lieutenant Mitchell. Thank you so much. I'll take it from here. I'll now entertain a motion for draft resolution 4.6, approval of 2022 Police Academy Director Training Director Service, motion by Councilor Bob, second by Mayor.
Discussion on this is Ron Santor, who has been with the city of Plattsburgh for a long time. And for the longest has his contract to essentially run Zone 9 Academy. Zone 9 Academy, as a reminder to you all and to the council, services all of Clinton County public service agencies, public safety agencies. Any place outside of Clinton County?
Yeah. we've been as far as- yeah.
So they send folks up here to do public safety training. Ron 100% does the work to organize the training, organize the classes, organize the instructors. He organizes this thing for everybody and has done so for a number of years. This contract has been about $20,000. I don't know for how long, for a long time. The request is to up his contract from 20,000 to 30,000.
Understood. All right. All in favor of moving this to the regular meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carried. Draft resolution 4.7, authorize various travel requests, police department, motion by Councilor Bob, second by the mayor. Discussion.
There are three different trainings that we're sending officers to. The purpose is that they come back and are able to share their information and their training with the other officers. This is all funded out of their travel training account.
All in favor of moving this forward to the regular meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carried. All right, item number 5, Chief Lawless. You just speak through 1 through 3. Just go right.
1, 2, 3.
Yep.
The order was fire and EMS stats,
EMS
right?
call, fire call. Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to thank PD, but thanks fire, PD, DPW, MLD. When a fire like that happens on Miller Street, it's all call. It's not, it's not, I know these guys go into the burning building, but it really is the PD's there, MLD is there to shut the lights off and the power off. DPW is there to help with crowd control and any other emergencies on the ground. But I went out there and we had mutual aid as well. Cumberland Head came out while we were on call to fill in any calls that may have come in. Who else? Katyville?
We had, we had Cumberland Head and Katyville covering the city for any other calls. Morrisonville, District 3, Peru were at the scene for manpower.
So
Because we had 2 structure fires going at the same time. We actually depleted the county air truck out of air tanks. So we were sending people nonstop.
With high wind.
What's that?
With high wind.
yeah,
Yes, yeah, the high winds
It was-
did not.
yeah, it was wild.
Then once it does that, it's a wind driven, it's basically a blow torch. So. Fire calls, our stats are tracking just where they were last year. You get within 15 or 20 calls. EMS calls are doing the same. It looks like we're maybe a little bit ahead of schedule on the EMS calls. If you go through and look at the revenue, we're tracking very good with our revenue. And that should increase a little bit more as we've had 6 individuals are going to be graduating EMT class. They're in the ambulance, and we also have 5 paramedics are going to be done as of May, second week of May, with 6 more slated to go to school for paramedics. So it's been that when you can do higher levels of care, there is more return for revenue. Call volumes as far as our automatic alarms, they're staying just about the same. Any issues that we have had with any of these alarm systems that have had problems, instructed all the officers to write up an email. They give it to me, I forward it to Joe. So at building inspector, so we've got a pretty good system going right now is to identify any issues that we have with automatic alarms.
I also spoke with Chief Lawless yesterday and today regarding a clear outline of what these calls mean and what constitutes a false alarm versus what constitutes an alarm that reacted properly, but you show up and there's no fire, right? I know that Ira Barbell, former counselor Ira Barbell, requested that information, which is part of this package. But it's really the outline and the explanation that is warranted here for not only this council body, but in response to Ira as well.
Yeah, any problematic alarms systems that we've had, first is a warning. And most of the time people address it immediately. They're trying to get it fixed and rectified because they don't want to keep coming out multiple times. They want the system to be working properly. So, we don't have a lot of problematic alarms. That next is going to be overtime payroll.
Yeah.
So overtime we're about 37% right now, 37.5, which equates about $18,000 over where we should be. Our 1100 account, which is regular payroll, is at 20.5. So that's roughly $230,000 under where we should be. So it balances itself out, as you know. We've got individuals in the academy. We still are looking to fill several more positions. We've exhausted our list, our civil service list, and we're calling for another one. So we're still down in manpower, but we're filling that with overtime and trying to get that all rectified. But there's only a certain amount of academies, and once your civil service list is exhausted, you need a new one.
Segue right into the assistant chief.
Yeah, I'll talk on behalf of the city and city management. We have had a number of conversations on strategy, the civil service, brief civil service overview is that you can appoint from a compelling list or you can appoint provisionally. There are a number of concerns that we're working through regarding appointing provisionally internally, appointing provisionally externally, and what that may mean in either way. We haven't settled on one way or the other. We have called for the test, which regardless of what direction we take on this, whoever is appointed, whether they are appointed provisionally from a promotional list or provisionally from an open competitive list, they've got to take that test. And then that test eventually defines who is qualified and who isn't. So the question that we have to answer, which we're actively having this conversation, and we have to ask civil service some details as well, is what happens when you promote provisionally and they don't make the list? Do they have bumping rights down back into the union, which that's the challenge because it is coming out of the union.
Right.
So that there's a question there, and I don't think that there's anything in union language that allows for that. So we got to work that part out. But then also having qualified candidates internally that we can look at and say, yeah, these folks are qualified. Just like anything else, what's the gap of their expertise and skill to fill what we need for this position versus what's just the basic qualifications or the basic promotional qualifications for a position like this. So that's the question that we're still trying to answer. We're still on track. I don't, it's certainly we would have
We would have preferred a part-time assistant chief in there already who could have probably led some of these and filled some of these gaps to date. But here we are, no big deal in the grander scheme of things. So we're just going back and forth, like just trying to strategize to really figure out what's the right thing to do for the city and for this department.
Thank you, Chief. There
Thanks,
any
Scott.
business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I'll now recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the committee on any topic. I'm going to ask you to please come to the podium, state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name is David Yoakum. This is Jane Doe to me right now. When she comes up, she will pronounce her name, but right now, I feel comfortable that she does her own. The other night, I met her when me and another worker were driving around. We saw a car, we saw some people walking down Cornelia Street, but there were no headlights. I go, wait a minute, slow down, because it was dark, and we realized it was a police car. And number one, safety right now, there was no headlights on, there was no regular, no lights on, so we didn't know what was going on. Then I recognized I had a white female with me that worked for another agency. No, this was a black female. So I said, look, turn around, we'll just park the car, see what's going on. She came to my window. I asked her, ma'am, are you okay? She goes, no, they hurt me, which I'll discuss that later. I go, what's wrong? She goes, I want a female. I want a female. She repeated 7 times to me, I want a female, okay? I didn't understand what's going on, so I tried to calm her down. Look, I know some of these officers, I was trying to make her calm down, trust them, they're not gonna hurt you. Okay, yes, she's a mental health patient, okay? But doesn't mean that she can't get some respect. When you got a situation like this, girl, and there ain't all male officers out there. How ladies out there? Calm down. How would you feel? No, I'm not being racist. Calm down. I'm not being racist, okay? We ran a Black Lives Movement here, okay? But we got a young female like this with 6 officers, they're all white. That is going to scare her. Then when she asks for a female officer,
I should have that right.
then my other volunteer that works for another agency is on the phone with the crisis center, okay? We use all of our resources to figure out what to do. They told us not to hang up, watch her very closely, okay? I have it all on video. Okay, listen, come. The cops did not hurt her, okay? I'm gonna get that across to you guys right now. They did not hurt her.
When I was 16.
But I just feel more comfortable as we get a female out there when they ask for a female when they're dealing with something, not all male officers. Okay, this young lady was scared, okay? In the grace of God, I'm gonna tell you right now, we lost her after she went to the hospital. Me and my other volunteer were putting another homeless person away the next day. She came downtown and we believe that God found her. My volunteer came down here for something and spotted this young lady. That's why she is here with me tonight, okay? We're talking about public safety. This is a public safety, okay? Absolutely. We're dealing with homeless people outside. That is a public safety, okay? I'm not upset with nobody, but it's frustrating me when I'm working. Last night, I stopped at my car the other night because I got a call from somebody at the grocery store that we have a homeless person on the south side that ran out of gas over there in front of the pump. I gave her gas money. We couldn't find her no place because it was like 11:30 at night. And we called everybody. I could not find shelter. I got lucky to get her shelter. The lady goes, I'm scared. Guess what happens?
Put it on camera.
I told her, let's go to my store. I'm gonna make you a bed in your van and we're gonna find a parking lot. She slept at the Oval. Guess where I slept? I slept next to her in my car next to her van all night to make sure she was safe for the night till morning came. That is a public safety we got. We got people sleeping on the streets, underneath the bridges. My concern is what we're supposed to do when these homeless people are going in abandoned buildings. That's a public safety issue. You guys are getting complaints about homeless people doing this and that. We have to find a solution, okay? Because we have a big mental health issue here, okay? I run a nonprofit and I work my tail off. I invested every dime I had to help these guys out. You don't even want to know the numbers that we got, okay? I try to be compassionate for these. You know why I'm very compassionate? I got a mental health daughter at home right now. And I got a 17-year-old daughter right here, because I've been in the hospital twice for minor heart attacks. She's gonna be taken over. That's why she's here tonight, to see how her father tried to do this, okay? But I just want to make it clear, Mr. Rosenthal, the officers did not hurt her, okay? Because she threatened to say that to hurt her. I got on video, they did not hurt her, okay? My concern was, I just want to make sure that there's a female officer when they're dealing with somebody like this, okay? Just for her safety.
I
too.
said.
Okay, thank you.
So
I'm not
what
speaking to
time,
her out.
if you don't mind, Mr.
Yes.
Yocum, what time did this incident happen on Saturday? Correct.
Saturday night,
What time?
I believe it was about 8:45 around there.
Yeah, you're right. It was like, wait, it's 45, when they fucking literally
Watch your mouth, please. No,
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 it's goddamn true.
no, but still, I told you, come here with respect. We'll be respectful.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Yocum.
Thank you very much, you guys. You have a good evening. We're done. We're going to do it now, okay?
Are there any other members of the public that wish to bring public comment? All right, seeing none, I'll take a motion to go ahead and adjourn. Motion by the mayor, second by Councilor Bob. All in favor? All opposed, carried.